Hey everyone, and welcome to Episode 2 of UbiChat, a Ubisoft fan podcast where we cover everything under the Ubisoft sun. I'm one of your hosts, Nate, and with me as always is my good friend,
Nick. Wait, we're friends?
Nick.
Nickelodeon.
What you been up to, Nick? How you been?
Pretty good. Actually, pretty busy. Got some stuff going on in the background. So
Got some stuff in the can? Yeah, I've been good too. I've just been kind of adjusting to my new job, but I tell you what, I'm excited to talk about some Ubisoft today. To start off, I do want to remind you guys to go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter at our Twitter at UbiChat. Let me do that again. I'm getting stumbling on my words, Nick. I do want to remind you, go ahead and follow us on Twitter. We have two pages.
Where is that?
At UbiChat is the first one, and at TX3 Productions. We have close to 50 on both of those. We're setting about 45 at UbiChat and 47 on TX3, so it would be awesome if you could get either or both of those to 50. We would greatly appreciate your continued support and feedback. So let's go ahead and jump right into Chat Room. Now, Chat Room is basically our weekly grind segment. Talk about what we've been doing, what games we've been playing, mostly Ubisoft stuff. If not, we'll just talk about kind of what we've been doing throughout. So, start off, Nick, you have been playing the Crew 2 beta.
Yep, I played the Crew 2 beta. I definitely thought about purchasing it just, because obviously I want to try to inform people of the nation here about how it is, but haven't really gotten around to it. I'll spoil the ending right here. I think it's going to be a wait for a sale. I really liked it. I thought it controlled very well, but it kind of was just kind of mediocre as far as, like, I like the concept of it. I like the premise of it. But the actual execution, the fact that, it's supposed to be a MMO CARPG, it's I don't know. There wasn't a lot that like stuck out to me like, oh my God, I have to get this right now. But the good things is, let's talk about some positives. The good things is the visuals. Visuals are so cool. The fact that you can pause your menu at any time, pretty much, I guess as long as you're not in a map or a race or something, you can pause your menu at any time and you can zoom out and in. Now, the cool thing about this is I can go all the way out and it's just basically like a map of the United States. It's scaled down, and once again, Boise is not on it. I digress. But
Do we need to pick it? Do we need to pick it, Ubisoft?
No. Yeah. Come on, Ubisoft. I think I said this last time when I was talking about Crew 1. I think one major city from each state would have been weird. But here's the weird thing. Salt Lake, which is on like very, very west part of the United States, is kind of like the center of the United States. I understand they had to take some creative
liberties,
licenses so that they could fit in the whole U.S. or whatever, but it just looks so weird when Salt Lake is not only more north than it should be, but also way more east than it should be. Anybody who knows the United States is like, wait, what? Where's Seattle? Where's Las Vegas? Las Vegas is actually like probably 500 miles away from where it really should be. But Positives. But anyway, so back to the zooming out and in. I can zoom all the way in. Like, let's say I'm in, bumfuck nowhere in the middle of the desert or whatever. I can zoom all the way out. I can move my cursor over to Las Vegas. I can zoom all the way into Las Vegas. I can watch cars go by. I can look at street signs. And it's like the fact that happens so seamlessly. There's not a loading screen. There's not like, it doesn't have to like skip at all. The fact that I can zoom out and zoom in anywhere in the United States, quote unquote, is really cool. And that is amazing. the fact that they were able to have such a gigantic map and still be able to like render cars and streets and the lampposts and everything at any moment on the exact opposite side of the map is freaking astounding. Like, it is so cool that you can do that. Some more positives. The driving seems really nice. I'm not too much of a simulation kind of guy. I play games for fun. I don't know about you, but I play games for fun. So having something like driving being so realistic that I need to worry about like 8 different things, like my transmission and my, like making it a simulation is just not that exciting. I want to have fun with it. So Crew 2 is very much an arcade type of game. And I really appreciate that, because also you do have flying and boats. So having the flying and the boats a lot more arcadey is just makes it fun. So having the boats handle very easily, a lot of people would look at that as a negative, like, oh, they don't feel right. But actually making them arcadey just makes it simple. The controls for a car are very similar to like the controls for a plane. I mean, obviously you still have to worry about like pitch and yaw, but not to the degree of like a Battlefield, because like Battlefield is a lot more like they're worried about realisticness and all that.
It's more of a sim.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a wartime simulation. And so they are a lot more in depth with their pitch and yaw and everything, whereas this is just, you're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to level up and everything. So you are going to get better as you go. But yeah, I mean, it's just so much more fun. And I really appreciate that, because like, I don't know, it's just, it just makes it fun, and being able to switch from a car to a boat to a plane and having them all handle similarly. I mean, obviously, like a boat, for instance, if you push backwards, you're going to get just a little bit of a speed boost, because like you're angling the motors further into the water. So obviously you're going to get a little bit of a speed boost. Give me a sec. Taking a drink. So the arcadiness of it is just really fun, and that's what it is. But I also kind of feel like that is part of the deterrent and part of the reason why I like it. I just don't $60 like it.
Right.
Because, like, I think I would have fun with it. And if I could get a crew together, if I could get a crew together, I think it would be fun, going on missions together and exploring the United States and stuff. And their off-roading is really fun, but the same reason it's fun is also the same reason it's not. For instance, I went 100 miles per hour straight into a rock and nothing happened. I didn't crash. My fender didn't get dented in. Nothing. It was completely fine. I just kept going. And so, something as small as that is like a huge deterrent for me, because it's like, I don't want it to be a simulation, in the sense that, I have 8,000 things to worry about. But something as simple as a crash or even just vehicle damage kind of seems like it would just add to the CarPG-ness of it rather than taking away, because then getting like better shocks would make more sense if I hit like really patchy rocks and I go over them for too long, it could damage my shocks, like just like in real life, and so then I'd have to replace those, and so having something like that in the game to just add to the depth of the CarPG would make more sense, because then like before going in and doing like a 30-mile trek or something, I'd want to make sure that my shocks are fully repaired, so that in the middle of it I don't get like a 5% debuff on my speed or handling or something. It would just add to the, not subtract. So little things like that. And then obviously doing like a street race or something, or even in boats, and I hit somebody, and yeah, it slows my car or boat down, but nothing really happens, and so even though the arcadiness just makes it fun and makes it so I can goof off, it also just really detaches me from the game itself. So it's like I am constantly reminded I'm playing a game, and no matter what, I hate that feeling. Even if I'm playing a cartoon game where I'm playing as like Bugs Bunny or something, I know it's not real, but the second you keep reminding me that I'm playing a video game rather than experiencing a story or something, that's when it's like, okay, I don't really like this. You know what I mean?
Well, something I find super interesting about The Crew 2 is how close to release they released their beta.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty much the full game, only, I can
see it as a
carry your progress over. I don't know.
I can see it as a marketing play. Like, hey, nobody's talking about The Crew 2. Let's have you actually get some hands on, and then hey, the game comes out in less than a month. So that would make sense. But like, if it was for stress testing or anything like that, why not do it a little bit earlier in development?
Yeah, I think for one, the Crew and the Crew 2, other than now you can be a boat and a plane, there's not a lot different about it. It's pretty much the same game engine, the same game mechanics, only now you have boats and planes. And so I feel like the infrastructure that they built for the first game, they pretty much just made it better. This is more like Crew 2.0 than actually Crew 2, because there's just not a lot about it that sticks out to me like, oh, this is leaps and bounds different than the first Crew. Now, granted, the first Crew, I didn't, have like 60 hours plus into it, but still, I still feel like it's pretty valid to say that, the same beta that I would have played for the Crew, there's not that much that felt different about it, rather than like one beta of Battlefield versus another beta of Battlefield can feel loads different. So yeah, I liked it, and it's very gorgeous, and it's fun, but yeah, just not quite $60 fun. So if they go on sale and it's more like $30 or something like that, and it just happens to be just in time for when I need something new, I could see me getting it then, but probably not any sooner.
Well, if you guys are interested in The Crew 2, or you played it and want to tell us your thoughts, you can go ahead and tweet at us at UbiChat, and we'd love to talk to you about The Crew. See if you picked it up, see if you're going to wait like Nick and wait for a sale. For me, like if it's a PS Plus game down the line, that'd be great, but it's not my immediate pickup, obviously.
Yeah, if they came out with a free version of it where like I have like a freaking Volkswagen Bug or something, and like it's the crappiest bug and I have to like really, grind or something, or, God forbid I have to like do microtransactions or something. But like, I feel like that is one of the problems when it comes to certain games like this. I pay the upfront $60 fee to grind my way up to the best car. Whereas like if it was a free to pay game and I put $60 into it, I could have like, let's say, a Lamborghini on day one. And so now it's more about my skill than it is about grinding my way through a game. And so I don't know, I feel like this game could really do for a free to play version of it. And it would have a lot less. Maybe you could only go up, if the level cap is, let's say 30, you could only go up to like 15 or 20. But I feel like it could benefit from that, because then if you've invested 15 to 20 levels in it, you'd have to assume that, okay, I want to make the plunge, I want to make the update, or something like that. I think it could benefit from it.
Yeah. That sounds like it could be a really good model for it. That's actually something I thought about while you were talking. Is I wonder if they would ever consider going free to play, especially if they, because I don't really think. Well, no, I don't want to say that because you have Warframe and other games, but there's not a whole lot that come to mind specifically in that genre. I don't think there are any where you have free to play RPGs. You know? So they could really corner that market.
Yeah. And the fact that it is a car game, I think, could also. There are plenty of dorks out there who love like GTA and Forza Horizon, right?
Yeah, Forza Horizon. Yeah.
I'm not an Xbox guy, so. But yeah, like there's plenty of people out there. Those games sell millions of copies. Instead of charging them the same amount that they would pay for, a much better experience, charge them nothing. And get it back in cosmetics. I hate to say that, but look at Fortnite. And I even hate to talk about Fortnite because, screw those people. But Fortnite, look at Fortnite. It is a free-to-play game, but it's probably made, like, let's say 80 times more than the Crew 2 will ever make in its lifespan. In a month.
Yeah.
And so, like, if the Crew would have done that, then, I don't know, making it a $60 game might have just been shooting themselves in the foot. Because it's like, yeah, they could have made money. And they're, from what I know, because it's an Ubisoft game, no offense, obviously. From what I know, because it's an Ubisoft game, there are microtransactions in it. You can do certain things. Obviously, I wouldn't imagine it'd be anything game related because they're not that stupid. They're not Need for Speed. So even though they already have microtransactions in it, so it's like they already could have made some kind of model to make it work, and it would have been so much better.
Well, I definitely can't wait to hear what comes. I think the review for it was pretty good. I think it was about like an 8.5 from IGN. So I can't wait to hear or see gameplay coming out and see how the community reacts to it. But besides that, how's your shield progress been going in the Division?
That hasn't been going that great because I am stuck in the dark zone. You have to go get some points of interest, and you definitely, when you get to the end game, it becomes more of a multiplayer game. The single player is pretty much level 1 to 30. You can play through the entire game single player and enjoy the story, enjoy the world for what it is. You hit 30, and I really feel like it becomes more of a co-op game. And so I've tried a couple times going on to Discord. I've even gone onto the Division Discord, and it's hard to find people who are the same level as me, because when I did go to the Discord on the Division, they were way too far ahead of me. And so I was basically just following them around like a lost puppy, and that's not fun, And so, yeah, it's kind of not progressing at all, which sucks because I did want to try to get into it so that I could, have a jump start, I think is what they have, a jump start at Division 2. So it's like I was actually genuinely getting into it, but then I hit that and it was pretty much just like hitting a wall. Just okay, can't go anywhere.
Well, hey, if anyone's listening, if you guys want to play the Division with Nick and help him out and help grind out those shields, we definitely would love to play with you guys. So just let us know, because I may get into every time you've asked to who wants to play the Division, I've been at work. So it's like I've been like, well, I would, but I can't right now. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more games in at night, and so people might be more available at that time. But yeah, pretty much any night after a certain point, I'm able to start playing. Is like I can get the girls to bed and get my stuff out of the way, and so yeah, it's pretty much. But Mondays in particular, I'm definitely trying to at least set some time aside just for the Division. So yeah, it's just. Now it's a little bit more of a grind because I am trying to get some more stuff to see if that'll help me in the dark zone. But then the dark zone levels up, and I'm like, son of a bitch!
Well, yeah, anyone, feel free to help Nick out. I definitely know he would appreciate it, and I'll try to. But My schedule's a little fluctuating. So, for me though, I have been playing Far Cry 5's first DLC, Hours of Darkness.
Yeah, that's the Vietnam one, correct?
That is correct. And Nick, let me tell you, this is scratching that itch.
Really? You didn't get the ointment for that? I mean, the doctor prescribed it.
No, I mean, the rash was a little nuclear, so I figured I was going to need some pretty heavy-duty medical grade ointment. But, this is just a little bit of a nice little, relief. It's got some aloe vera, and it's letting me scratch with ease. So that took a weird turn. No, but seriously, Hours of Darkness is really, really good. It is short, so that is a little bit of a downside. But if you
it's not called Days of Darkness.
Yeah, if you play it's perfect for me and you.
Yeah,
because the way we play this DLC is wanting you to play this game stealth, based on the atmosphere and your surroundings, and you're trying to survive. You're more likely to go in guns blazing in Far Cry 5 proper, because that's the way the game is playing. You're building a militia pretty much.
Right.
Whereas this, you are a crashed infantryman trying to save his trying to save everyone else that was hurt in the crash, he's trying to save all the POWs that are in his group. Right. Words were hard there for a second, so I stumbled on that a little bit. But and so the main point is to survive. It's like really any stealth Far Cry player's dream. I mean, it really is. It does some really cool things with its mechanics. So what you do is you can play it guns blazing, and they actually have a mode called Action Movie that I'm gonna try here in a little bit. But it gives you as many weapon slots as you want, and just allows you to play it like Rambo. That's how it's designed. So that seems really interesting. But so what you do is you get stealth kills, and when you get more and more stealth kills, you have this bar. I think it's 4 or 5 icons, and basically each one gives you a different stealth perk. So one is one is adrenaline. So when you crouch, you're walking faster when you're crouched. Another one is you will tag enemies that are near you, kind of how Boomer does. And it basically takes the mechanics that you get in Far Cry 5 and the perks that you would get through that, but it counts as stealth kills. So when you get to the highest, you can keep that, but if you die or if you get spotted, it goes back down and you have to restart again.
Oh, interesting.
So for people who play Splinter Cell, it's kind of similar to, I think it was Blacklist was the last one that did it, or the second one that did it, where you had these, when you did stealth kills, you got these marks, and when you got enough, you could do that cool quick time shoot 3 people in a row thing.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to that. But the thing I love the most about it is the environment. Very similar to Blood Dragon. The environment is what's drawing you in. Mm-hmm. There are cool things in the distance to see. So when you look out in the distance, it's like fogs of war. It looks like literal fogs of war. You have red. It looks like color palette from Apocalypse Now.
Oh, nice.
It's really cool, and it does basically everything that Far Cry 5 does, where you have to kind of discover things as you go. But in that setting, it matches up perfectly, because you're crashed in a foreign place. You don't know anything, so you're discovering it as you go. It's a lot more simple when it comes to mechanics, but it incorporates Far Cry 5's in a way that makes me really excited to see what they could do with another proper Far Cry game. So like I said, you can blow through it pretty fast if you want to just go in guns blazing. Mm-hmm. But it took me a little bit longer to get through it, just because I was playing it stealth.
Right.
But everything about it feels great. It feels like a good mixture of 3 and 5, because you have that same kind of atmosphere.
Interesting.
But yeah, I can't wait for the second DLC, because this one, if it's any indication of the rest, I think that they're going to have a really good DLC season.
Right. I mean, if it just keeps going up and up, and I mean, obviously, if we go by the poster, and the last one is the zombies, which I mean is the one everybody would want, and it's going to have seven different scenarios, then, like, yeah, hopefully that is a good indication of, okay, here's one scenario, POWs, go save them. Alien, getting off the alien world, that one might be a little bit more open. You get a jetpack, some fun laser guns and stuff like that. And then finally, they finish with a bang. Hopefully that's what we're going to be up to. As far as the stealth mechanics, that sounds really cool. I unfortunately didn't get the season pass. It came right at the point where it's like I had just enough for the game itself. And then we all know how I feel about the game. So it's like, do I want it? And even they just had like a sale or something that I could have got it for a reasonable price. And I'm like, but Horizon Zero Dawn is like only $20. So, okay, Horizon Zero Dawn. It was a complete edition too. So I got robot dinosaurs. But one thing I'd like to throw out there, if we have another Far Cry, completely new game, I would like to see that same stealth mechanic, but I think what would be a really cool thing is to have 1 meter for stealth mechanics and 1 meter for guns blazing. Ooh. So have different perks, and obviously each perk is going to help you be more of a stealthy killer. Then have on the other side, have a couple of perks that you can build up to, and then maybe the last one is like a freaking mortar strike or something like that. I think something like that would be really cool, as far as like, I don't know, maybe one's an adrenaline meter, so your adrenaline's pumping because you're just killing, guys left and right, and you have your M60 out or whatever. So the more your adrenaline goes up, you start unlocking new perks like faster reload or faster sprinting or something like that. And then obviously the stealth, like you said, one's you spot people and one's you move faster while crouched over. So that sounds perfect. Keep that, but then add the action side of it as well. So that if you had that in Far Cry 6, and so, you are, if they, excuse me, in this particular game, it makes sense for them to incentivize you being stealthy. But in a regular Far Cry game, so Far Cry 6, if they only incentivized us to be stealthy, well, it's like the whole point of a Far Cry game is to play it your way. So what they need to do is they need to have one to incentivize stealthiness and one to incentivize, action movie.
Yeah, I definitely agree. If anyone's listening, and to you too, Nick, Far Cry 5 Hours of Darkness by itself is $11.99.
Right.
So if you want to pick it up, you can pick it up outside of the season pass. So yeah, if there's anyone that felt a little burned, kind of like we did, felt a little burned like we did in Far Cry 5, this is definitely a really good...
if you ever went nuclear.
This is definitely a good, not apology, but okay, this is good. This is, I want this. This, there's nothing really bad I have to say about Hours of Darkness, because it's the type of Far Cry that I want to play. I want that survival aspect, and that really, really gives it to you in spades in this DLC. So I highly, highly recommend it. If you have the season pass, if not, it's $11.99, up to your budget, but I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely worth a pickup. And it's cheaper than Blood Dragon. So I think Blood Dragon was bigger though, so take that into consideration as well. Now, for the topic of the show. Show. I want to talk about the new Assassin's Creed.
Woo!
Assassin's Creed Odyssey was revealed at E3. Well, no, actually, it was revealed way before E3. But it was.
God damn it, Walmart!
It was definitely shown in full, completely at E3. They basically showed off that they're changing the formula, officially changing the formula to a more RPG style game. Kind of like how they started with Origins, but I feel like even more so with Odyssey from the stuff they showed off. You can play as 2 separate characters. You can really just do big battle events, which looks like it's going to be really cool. And from the way they've shown off, you can really craft the story how you want to. And you have like dialogue trees, which we didn't have before. So those are some of the few ways. Now, the thing I wanted to talk about is, what does that mean going forward for the AC series? I don't know how I feel about it personally, because I've loved the Assassin's Creed games from the beginning, and I really enjoyed the formula they had. Now,
Yeah, right.
I understand that there needed to be a change because, sales and the fact of how often they were coming out was hurting them, but also they did probably need to switch it up. And Origins was great. Origins was definitely one of those I was like, oh, this actually works. Like, this type of game, this universe can fit into an RPG. And Odyssey looks like it's going to be the same way, and it looks like it's probably going to be even better. I know for me and a lot of other people, Egypt I'm not really interested in. And like, there's nothing against Egypt. It's just, it's a time period that I rarely studied in school, that I wanted to study in school. Mm-hmm. And it's just nothing that I really thought was super interesting. The thing that I loved about Origins is the character. Bayek is probably one of my favorite protagonists of the series. Like, his character made me want to continue playing the game. And, the changes, of course, mechanics wise, but it looks like they're completely rolling that out, and just boom, like, here it is for Odyssey, and Greece looks incredible.
Right.
I'm more excited for this one than I was for Origins, because I love that time period. The Spartans is probably not one of my favorites, but a specific point in history that I really enjoyed studying.
Oh yeah.
And so it's one of those that this looks like it's going to be just full of character, full of like color, especially. The game looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. What I'm excited about the most is, like you're saying, the Greek aspect of it. Being able to go through like the Greek gods and maybe seeing what kind of effect that has on the people and things like that. Not only that, but the fact that, Spartans exist and we're going to be fighting with them, alongside them. That really, really excites me, because, that mindset that a Spartan has, and, being so gung-ho to the fact that it's like, the only glorious death is in battle, that kind of mindset or whatever, I think is really cool. And I feel like story-wise, I'm hoping Odyssey isn't just a subtitle. If we go through the Odyssey, like the actual like old play or whatever, if we actually go through like key moments in the Odyssey, that would like make me to break. I mean, that would be so freaking awesome.
The thing that worries me is that because you have the option of playing two different characters, you can either play as Alexios or Cassandra. Depending on which one you pick, may not be canonical for the main story or the main Assassin's Creed universe. So I'm interested how that's going to play out.
Interesting, yeah.
Because there's always been the second story going on in the Assassin's Creed games. You had the the Ezio and then the Desmond stuff, which the Desmond stuff I loved. And it seemed like they focused more in Origins on the Bayek setting rather than the real life, but you still had a good amount of the real life world going on. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out. My question for you is, I don't know your Assassin's Creed lineage. So what does this game do for you that maybe others didn't in the past?
Setting.
The setting selling.
Yep, 100%. It's the setting. Back when it first started, I want to say it was in Israel. Then it moved to like Italy. Then it moved to United States. Then what was it? London for Unity.
The Caribbean was for 4.
Oh, okay.
And then Unity was France, and then Syndicate was London.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they've been all over the place, and different time periods or whatever. But this particular setting during this particular time set is extremely interesting, and it's like It's like making Gods of Egypt with Gerard Butler versus Clash of the Titans with Sam, whatever the fuck his name is.
No, I'm sorry, Sam Worthington.
Worthington, there we go.
Yeah, Whitwer's somebody else.
They're both really terrible movies, just absolutely terrible. But I'm so much more interested in Clash of the Titans because it's like, you know, it's freaking Greek gods and stuff. So yeah, 100% it's the setting. Everything else about it worries the hell out of me. RPG, okay, that's fine, but like the fact that you have like the Spear of Destiny or whatever, and so you're able to do like this magical stuff, like once again, like where you were coming from, where it's like, yeah, they needed to make a change, they needed to make it different, but one thing about Assassin's Creed that has always been prevalent is its historical, maybe not accuracy, but it's historic. You're living through history. So like in 3, you were living through the Revolutionary War. And so like living through that, and then even one of their DLCs was George Washington ended up becoming a tyrant rather than the person we know and love. And so those type of, even though George Washington never became a tyrant, everything was based on reality. And so now we have these RPG factors coming in, and you're able to do like this magical ground pound because it's an RPG and you need an AoE. So that's the only part I don't necessarily like about it. So I'm, you know, it's one of those wait and see things about it, honestly.
I 100% agree. That's why I loved Assassin's Creed games, is because they were historically accurate to an extent.
Right.
But then you had that underlying thing about the Apple of Eden and like the original people. You know, you had Juno and all these other like figures that necessarily, I guess, in mythology are real, but like to us it's not. So when you play with those kind of ideas, that's what made it so interesting. The story of those games is what I loved.
Yeah.
And that was my worry with Origins. The thing with Origins, why I like it so much, is I love the gameplay of it. The story, I can't tell you much about, apart from the fact that I like Bayek's cutscenes and I like him as a character. But besides that, the thing I love about Origins is its gameplay, because it's the Assassin's Creed game I love. Combat, mechanics, everything dialed up to 11. So it's one of those that I can't say that I want like a different Assassin's Creed to go with this new formula they're going with, because I think that's just going to be too much. But if they're deciding to set aside what they have done before, that is going to be a little disappointing, just because that's why I love those games. You know, I still will go back and play Brotherhood or play Assassin's Creed 3 just because like I'm enthralled in the story that they're telling. So on the plus side, something that Origins did that was really cool in a more games as a service side is they had live events. And their live events were you basically battling these animus glitches that were these Egyptian gods. Like you had Sekhmet and you had Anubis and stuff like that. So imagine doing that with Greek gods.
Hell yeah.
Like you're doing some God of War type stuff in Assassin's Creed. That sounds really awesome. And I'm with you. I'm definitely probably going to pick it up just because I'm a sucker for these games. But I am interested to see how this game is going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because also the draw to the other Assassin's Creeds is I could knock them out in an extended period of time. The problem with Origins, I still haven't beat Origins. And it's because the game is so huge and I have so many other games to play. That's not great for me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the historical accuracy is really one of the only negatives. I mean, even if you look at Origins came out with a like walking simulator version of it where you could just go, because they were so proud of how historically accurate they were of their redepiction of Egypt, that they're like, hey, you can just walk through it, you don't have to worry about combat, you don't have, like, they were so proud of that. And so then to go like this magic route, I like, honestly, that's kind of just something I'm hung up on. Like, it's definitely going to be a rent for me just because I loved the combat, but it was just like everything else was not good for me. So I really want to kind of hold my judgment. I'll rent it, see how I like it, and then kind of just go from there, honestly.
That's something I think that they're aware of. So I'm wondering if I wonder if we're just not understanding that, or if that's something like, hey, you have this special ability. So yeah. I'm interested to see what their response is on that, or if they don't say anything, how it comes out and release, because it's coming out this year.
Right.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Everything is just so goddamn jam-packed this coming season. Like,
you're telling me.
Putting Assassin's Creed aside, first off, quick Google search, when does it come out? So you can get it first. Ready?
We're playing a game October 5th, 2018.
Damn it! All right, so okay. You said, say that again?
I didn't say anything.
No, say when it comes out again.
Oh. Assassin's Creed Origins is going to be coming out October 5th, 2018.
October 5th, 2018. Okay. If you are a PlayStation owner, which there's probably a lot of you out there, if you are a PlayStation owner, that gives you exactly 28 days to do everything you want in Spider-Man.
Yep.
Because it comes out September 7th, 2018. So, yeah, we're talking a month to get through Spider-Man and just, all the side stuff, and I don't know.
And even then you have Red Dead after that. Red Dead comes out October 26th.
Exactly. So we have these giant open worlds sandwiched in between each other. So, like, if you're a comic book fan, and let's say you have enough for exactly one game this season, you want to make the best out of it because you want to make sure you get your money's worth. So you want a big meaty game. So you could get like a Call of Duty or something like that, but that's not going to be as meaty as like a Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, or Red Dead Redemption. So let's say you only have one that you can do. If you love Rockstar, you're going to get Red Dead. Just end of question. But let's say you want to hold that off, like me, and you have a choice between Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed. Right off the bat, like I don't know. Spider-Man, I feel like both of these games have something to prove, but if Spider-Man comes out and on the 8th, I have people telling me that it's like a 9 or even like an 8.5, I'm going to be like, hell yeah, I'm getting it. Whereas like Assassin's Creed, if they come out and they get a 8.5, let's say, I kind of just expect that. It's like, it's an Assassin's Creed game. It's a good game. And that's not to say anything bad against Ubisoft or the people who make Assassin's Creed games. But it's like, yeah, that's something I expect. Whereas Spider-Man, I don't know what to expect with it. So if somebody tells me that it's a good game and I need to play it, I'm more likely to buy that over Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I don't know what's going first for me this year. I honestly don't. Spider-Man for sure is a day one pickup, but like I didn't get Assassin's Creed until a little bit after Christmas, and then that's when I started playing it. So right. Assassin's Creed may be a spring game for me. I don't. That's the problem I have.
Spring is so loaded.
That's the problem I have with these. Oh yeah, February everything. That's the problem I have with this new formula of Assassin's Creed. Is it's just a game I love that I don't know if I'm going to get to.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, I guess that's the problem we're going to have going forward with games, is they're just getting so big. But I really feel like we're going to get to a point where we're going to stop open worlds and go back to linear stories, like more and more linear games.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who knows, honestly.
Jesus,
no. All right, for the last segment of the show, it's... God damn it. All right, now for the last segment of the show, it's a little fun one we like to call You, Me, and Ubi. This is where we take a look back at some of the games from Ubisoft's past, talk about them, get you a little kick of nostalgia right towards the end of the show. This week, we have Red Steel.
Woo!
Yeah, we're both really excited about Red Steel. Red Steel is the Wii game, and Red Steel 2 came out on the Wii as well. Hold on, let me start again. Red Steel came out for the Wii. It was kind of one of the big first motion action shooting games that came out on the Wii. Mm-hmm. It was released November 19th, 2006. That game is over 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
Or just a couple farts.
Yeah. It actually came out with a not that bad of a score at about a 63 on Metacritic. So
that's horrible in some people's cases.
It is, but it could have been a lot worse. So what are your memories on Red Steel?
I played it well after the fact. But my memories on it were that it was very, very, very mediocre. So like 6.3 or 6.3, whatever your scale is probably about right. I mean, maybe a 7 because it's a Wii game. What are you expecting?
Right.
Other than obviously if it was a mainline like Mario or something, Mario Galaxy, yeah, that's like an 11 out of 10. So, but yeah, it was really cool. I feel like this was one of the first games that shows you the premise of a first-person shooter on the Wii and how that could work. And for that reason, I really enjoyed it. To this day, like that's probably one of my favorite type of games is a shooter, but I'm using a cursor, because then like it's just that tactile feeling of like actually aiming at the screen and shooting, but it was also I could move myself around rather than like a Ghost in the what's it called, Ghost something, I don't know. It was like an arcade shooter. It was literally an arcade shooter, so obviously you're on rails. You know, it moves over here, stops, pow, 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 move over here, stop, pow, pow, pow. You know, it just it just does that over and over again. And that's fun. It's arcadey, you know, it's like, hey, I only have like, 10 minutes to spare. Let me go through a round of, that thing I'm thinking of. I can't think of the name for some reason. Anyways, it also came out on the Wii, or a version of it came out on the Wii. So that's why I'm fixated on it. But here we have something that's kind of like an on-rail shooter, but you get to decide where you're going. You get to decide, if you take cover, and that little bit was enough to be like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, Red Steel, for me, I have good memories on it because it reminds me of that very experimental time period that was going on when the Wii came out.
Yeah.
Like you had just these like tech demos basically of what this console could do, and I just remember sitting in front of my TV figuring out, oh, what does this game do? Oh, what does this game do? And like looking back on it now, especially, like the game of course looks like it was on the Wii. Like every Wii game had that very particular look because it was the only console that
PS2.
Well, when the Wii came out, shortly after the Wii came out, we had already gotten into HD with the Xbox 360 and shortly after the PS3.
Right.
So it was the only console that at that time of the current gen was not HD. So you don't really notice that change until you get those later consoles. But Red Steel, I think they definitely made up for it in the sequel, Red Steel 2, because they were like, let's have less of a real game and more of just an arcadey what this game needs to be.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was so cool how they combined the sword combat and like just the gunplay. Like it was very experimental at the time, but it was also just really fun.
Yeah. I think it was really cool. As far as like, I think when you pulled out a sword, like you basically pushed a button, which kind of like stood you in place. So then when you were swinging, because obviously like how a first person works on the Wii is like when you point towards like towards the edge of the screen, that's how you turned. And so with the sword, so you weren't just like looking all over the place while you're trying to swing a sword. It basically locked you into place. And so having these moments where like, you get to like lock yourself down and then just like pull out your samurai and do some cool stuff. That was definitely like a really cool experience, I think.
Yeah, looking on boss battles on Red Steel, I remember being able to use the nunchuck and the Wiimote. So you would have that like Tonto blade that was kind of your like dodging or your blocking and just doing stuff like that. It just I still have those muscle memories of playing those games like that on the Wii, and it's definitely a good nostalgia feel. But is it a great game? Especially by today's standards, in no way, shape, or form. Yeah. But back then, it was definitely a cool experimental thing that happened. It happened.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, put some goggles on, and that's a VR game right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's something, if they like rebooted Red Steel, or they did like a spiritual successor to it, but they did it on like the PlayStation VR or something, that would be freaking awesome. I think the mechanics and the overall premise of Red Steel is a good one. The execution of it, that was kind of iffy. But like I said, like one of my favorite ways to do a shooter was to just point at the screen, and just you add that with some VR, and now not only are you immersed into the world because you have that tactile feel where you're pointing a gun, but you're actually immersed into it because it's on your face. You look around and you're looking around in the world. Something like that. If they rebooted that on the PlayStation, and obviously they could call it something else. Maybe it could be like purple aluminum. But you did something like that, I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you give us like a Red Steel 2, because Red Steel 2's like hold on. No, yeah, I totally agree. Like, Ubisoft, give us a Red Steel sequel in VR. That's what we want. That's what everybody wants.
Everybody wants it. They're scared. They're scared little sheeple, not speaking up. So we're speaking for them.
Well, if there's any games that you guys want us to do a showcase on for Yumi and Ubi, we'll be happy to do it. If not, there's just a plethora of games in Ubisoft's past that we can go through and give you some nostalgia.
Yeah. Maybe let's start with the first one next time. That's what we'll do. Very first Ubi game ever, and then we'll wait for suggestions.
Sure.
I'm glad you liked that idea.
I did very much. Thank you.
Good. Yeah.
Well, looks like that's going to do it for episode 2 of UbiChat. We'd love to hear more feedback from you guys. We'd love to get a bigger community growing. We'd love to play some games with you guys in particular, help Nick get those shields, play some Siege, play Far Cry. We would love to play some more of these games with you guys. So if you would like to hit us up on our Twitter at UbiChat, or jump in our Discord, information will be on our Twitter as well. We very much appreciate it if you do. If you like the show, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. That helps us get up in the charts and ends up giving you a better show. Well, I've been Nate.
And this is Nick.
Thank you for tuning into UbiChat, and we be seeing you later.
Because, you started off the outro, you started off as, okay, that's the end of UbiChat. And so, thanks for tuning in is the perfect, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
So, make that face at me. I can fucking see you.
Sometimes whenever I get done, I'll click on my window on the Hangout, and I'll just, make faces at myself.
Wow. Okay, there you go. There you go. Go check. Is it good? Usually we have to stop every once in a while, but I feel like this time we definitely stopped 3 or 4 times just because I heard hey. But the last time I stopped it because I could hear her in the other room, Dad. So I go in there, I'm like, what? And she's like, I'm going potty. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Did you stop recording?
Thank you. Oh no, I didn't.
Okay, good. That's a blooper. Dad, I'm going potty. Well, looks like that's going to do it for episode 2 of UbiChat. Had a lot of fun. No, damn it, let me do it again. Well, looks like that about... Oh, my fucking God. Well, looks like that's going to do it for episode 2 of UbiChat. If there's any games that you guys want us to cover on... Damn it, I had it and I said the wrong thing. Well, looks like that about... Fucking... God. Well, look,
You're thinking too much.
I
Just
am
stop
thinking too
thinking. Like that's what I do when I'm on the mic. I don't think. That hurts my brain cells.
I've been Nate,
And this was Nyak.
and we be seeing you later.
No! It's not how it goes. Okay. Try it again.